If you're a marketer working in corporate and you're thinking about quitting to become a fractional CMO, here are 6 things you have to do before you quit your job. All right, so here's how I think about going fractional. It's not a job change, you're actually building a new business. So the best time to start building is when you have a paycheck coming in, because it allows you to make the best decisions instead of being driven by fear and scarcity because you're backed into a corner and need to just do anything to make money. You are actually in the best situation if you're working in corporate because you have income, you have time to build up your business before you actually quit your job. So let's get into it. Number 1, get clear on the transformation you sell and who you are selling to. This is huge. I don't think you need to always niche forever and you don't need to stay in your niche, but when you're starting, it is going to be so much easier for you to be clear on who you're working with. And if you're like me and I struggled so much with niching down, you can change your mind. It's not forever. It's just to get that traction going. And as somebody who's been in this industry for 5 years as a fractional CMO, I can tell you this role has exploded. So there's so many people out there. So if you can differentiate yourself, you're going to be so much stronger right out the gate. I'll give you an example. I was looking up fractional CMOs yesterday on LinkedIn, and I came across this one CMO who had the coolest positioning. She specializes in working with mobile apps while they are just getting started. So what's cool about that is that's really unique, and there's so many tech startups. And if you know much about niching, I will be doing a deep dive on this soon, but tech startups often will get rounds of funding. So they're often in a position where they have a lot of cash to spend, and they're the perfect kind of client that can bring in a fractional CMO and a marketing team really quickly and easily. So it was cool because her positioning made her feel like the best choice, the only choice, the natural choice if you are a mobile app who's trying to grow, who's just getting started, and you need that go-to-market position and the launch plan and all the things. So that is so much stronger than you just saying, I'm a fractional CMO. Especially in this market, we need to be competitive and it needs to be so clear who you are for. Okay, number 2, when I started as a CMO, I had never been a CMO before, but that didn't mean that I had never driven marketing results before. So what I want you to do while you're still in your job is build out your case study library. Think through your entire career and any kind of marketing results that you've been a part of, whether that has been growing social media accounts, growing email, driving sales through a certain promotional campaign you did. What you want is minimum of 5 case studies written up with specific tangible numbers, and ideally solving a variety of different problems that you think your ideal client for fractional CMO work will have. So, for example, let's take this fractional CMO in the mobile app space. A few things that I think would be cool for this person to focus on is, okay, number 1, here is how I helped this client map out their product positioning so that when they launched, they were really clear who they were launching for and the kinds of problems they solved. Number 2, here's how I helped this so-and-so app grow from this user base to this user base. So you want to show the situation when you started, what you did, and the result, and ideally in numbers. And then if you ever can, I love including testimonials. Sometimes that's not possible when you've been in corporate, and that's totally fine. That is just like the 11 out of 10 version. And when you have these, it helps clients or potential clients be able to contextualize exactly how you're going to help them. So, hey, here's this problem. Here's how I solved it. Here was another problem. Here's how I solved it. So they have confidence that you'll be able to solve the problems and challenges that they're dealing with. And you're showing them, look, I've done it before. Now, you might be sitting there and you might feel a little bit like me when I started. I had a bunch of different corporate experience, agency experience, and often the work that I had done had been in teams. Like it wasn't me solely doing it. I wasn't leading it as the CMO. That is okay. That is okay. If they want to dig into your role in a particular strategy or campaign, then you can share what your role was. But I would just keep it high level. You know the strategy. You know you could go into their business and probably recreate something similar. Okay, number 3, have 10 exploring fractional conversations. I think it's really, really important to get out there and talk to other fractionals. It does not have to be fractional CMOs. I actually love talking to fractional CFOs because that area of business has been doing fractional the longest, so long, well before the growth and explosion of fractional CMOs and fractional COOs over the past 5 years. And I think it's really cool because you can get a sense of what is it really like? What do you love? What's the hardest? Do you have any tips for me? And you will learn so much. So I'll give you a little script. Hey, I'm exploring fractional CMO work in the next 6 to 12 months. I'd love 15 to 20 minutes of your time just so I can understand how you started in this industry, if you have any advice, and would love to learn anything you're willing to share. When I started, I did this, and don't be surprised. You will get people who say no. You will get people who just don't write you back. You will probably have some conversations that are not super helpful, but I find if you talk to a large enough group of people, which is why I'm strategically saying 10, you'll start to hear some common themes like, hey, this part of it is difficult if you don't X, or this was a really big mistake I made when I started. It's going to help you avoid some big mistakes that people often make. It's going to help you understand, are you qualified? Do you think you're going to like this work? Based on how your brain thinks, based on how you approach strategy and marketing, do you think this is the right fit for you? And then the cool thing is, especially if you're talking to other fractional CMOs who are not marketers, maybe you're talking to fractional COOs or fractional CFOs, you actually might get some clients out of these conversations. So if you're working on building these relationships, someone that you talk to might end up becoming a referral partner for you and vice versa. I often find, especially when you're working with small to medium-sized businesses, they do need other fractional leadership. So whether that's a COO or a CFO, and so there can be this nice trade amongst people when you have those relationships. Okay, number 4, start on LinkedIn. Everyone thinks they need to have all of this social media content. They need a huge website, and I'm telling you, you do not. But branding and positioning is really important. And the reason I'm suggesting LinkedIn is because that is where the more serious buyers are. The people with actual big businesses that will have budget to hire you. And I find too, when you get off of Instagram, a lot of people are on Instagram, that's a lot of online businesses, coaches, etc. It's a little bit messy over there, and it's just harder to find great clients there. So I would start on LinkedIn for the quality of clients, and because you don't need to be posting a lot. It's really about positioning yourself properly over there. So I want to make sure that you have your headline, your bio, all of your past work descriptions, everything is updated and it's positioning you as a CMO. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, Jess, I'm still at my job. I can't quite do that yet. That's okay. What I want you to do right now is work on updating the parts that you can. And I want you to get into a rhythm. I want you to be posting on LinkedIn 2 or 3 times a week. And it doesn't need to be edited videos. It doesn't need to be anything profound, but just get on there and start sharing your expertise as a marketing leader. And one of my favorite ways to do this, I think it's Alex Hermosi that says this. I should know this. Actually, no, it's somebody else. They say, document, don't create. And that's exactly what I did when I first started. I would post 2 times a week, maybe 3, and sometimes I'd miss it. I was really just, whenever I felt inspired, I would hop on and say, hey, I'm doing this, or I'm learning that, or this is what I'm doing in my role today. So if you're still in your job, you can start sharing the things that you're working on, the challenges you're solving, the kinds of teams you're working with. And then that will start to build a little bit of buzz around you and start to have people watching you before you make this transition. That way, when you do transition, you already have a little mini audience that's been watching you and following along and that are bought into you. So that might not necessarily be clients, but one of the things that I did when I first started this business was I reached out to my network. And it was really cool because people could say, oh yeah, I saw that you left here, or I saw that you're doing this now. And because they had seen me and I was top of mind, I got some great response rates and I had some really awesome people actually help me and refer clients to me. Okay, number 5, save 6 to 9 months of runway. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but This is why I landed on that, because the fractional CMO sales cycle can be a little bit long. I think my first client I probably got within the first 3 months, but that was a smaller client. It took me about 4 or 5 months to land my first $15K per month retainer client. So I say 6 to 9 months because I think it's nice if you can do that. If you end up not being able to save that, or maybe you have a partner who is covering the bills, then this might change for you. But I always like to be in a position, now I like to be in a position where I'm not feeling like I'm in a crunch and I have to make decisions out of scarcity or fear. I never want to have to take on a client that I don't think is great. I never want to have to keep clients that are not good because of the money. And I also don't want to have to underprice myself just to close the client. Because if I fill my time up with underpriced clients, that's the only time I have. And then I don't have the opportunity to go out and earn better money. So that's why I want to see you in a good position. I want to see you have a runway, sort of a cushion, and then you can have that so you can make better decisions as you're getting started. Okay, the last thing that I would do is I would put some time into building out your packages. Now, not too much time. I honestly find people spend way too much time spinning their wheels here and trying to perfect something. And the only way you're going to know is when you get in and you start working with clients. That's how you learn what is and isn't working. Or you can be learning from someone like me, where I have packages that I've tested over the last 5 years. But you want to go your own route, I would say spend some time thinking about how are you going to approach strategy for clients and what do you want your monthly retainers to be, and map those out and keep it simple. The biggest mistake people make when they start this work is they are custom quoting everybody and custom scoping. That is the fastest way to burnout. You need systems, you need packages that are set so that you can rinse and repeat. And then it makes your work so much easier. I have lots of videos and resources on my packages, so you can go binge all of those. Or if you want the in-depth walkthrough, I teach all of it, my packaging, pricing, selling, and I give you literally every single template that I use to sell, market, and then deliver all my packages inside Fractional CMO School. So the link is below if you want more information. All right, here is the recap. 6 things to do before you quit your job to become a fractional CMO. 1 is you're going to get super clear on the transformation that you sell and who you are serving. 2 is you're going to build your case study library. 3 is I want you to have at least 10 exploring fractional work conversations. 4, you're going to start your LinkedIn positioning and slight little content drips. 5, you're going to save a runway or a cushion. 6 is you're going to start thinking about your packaging. If you like today's video, hit subscribe, and I drop a video every single week sharing how to start and scale as a fractional CMO. And if you're interested in Fractional CMO School, all the information is below. I'm sharing exactly how I scaled to 6 figures in 6 months as a fractional CMO and then hit $1 million a year. So everything is below if you're interested, and I will see you next week.